diesel truck.
Hello guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garage. So tonight we will be diving back into the race truck some more, trying to get some more things put away and checked off our to-do list. But first things first, when I got home from work, we had to work on the Bobcat as we had filters and fluids and stuff like that come in. So did an oil change, air filter change on the Bobcat and the Kohler. Also figured out what's going on with the PTO clutch because we had to get a shaft sleeve for that, which did come in. So we're actually going to have to modify it and almost make like 2 shaft sleeves, which I'll talk to you guys about that when we go to put it in. But I also have to make a hold back bracket for the PTO clutch, so when you turn the PTO on, it doesn't spin and rip the wires out of the thing. So we were missing, part of that bracket. It's only a little piece I got to make, so not a big deal. Other than that, couple of little things here and there. Oh, change the fuel filter as well. But we just need to change the hydraulic fluid, change the hydraulic fluid filter, get the PTO on, and then we can get our drive belt on. I've decided I want to go through the deck. I'm sure there's some bearings and stuff that need to be changed on that. Also on the PTO, there is a bearing that we need to change. So we'll be getting that a little bit further here shortly, hopefully done soon. I would like to have it done by the end of next week, but God only knows what we'll find on that deck. It is a commercial mower, so I would not be surprised if some of these bearings are shot, though a few of them seem pretty good. So that being said, what are we diving into on the race truck? Well, we're jumping back in the interior here. So we did our little half dash mod. Get my light. We did our little half dash mod. Just threw it in there, got it so everything's right, made it kind of clean on this side. Eventually I'll probably put an aluminum plate over there, but we didn't do any of our wiring. Our transmission linkage is not hooked up, our parking brake's not hooked up, our hood latch isn't hooked up. So I want to wrap that all up and basically turn this complete utter looking piece of shit into something again, loom it all up, get that done. As somebody had commented the other day, it seems like this is the wiring channel as of late, and yes, that is true, but it is what it is. It's shit we got to get done because we're kind of building our own standalone setup rather than going with like, what is it they use? 06, 07 ECM. So we're going to use, all our gauges, all that kind of good stuff. So let's get into this wiring, get this inside right here wrapped up. I did make a list the other day of like needs and wants, basically things we need just to get this thing operable again. Stuff like painting all our cross members we put in, plumbing our fuel system, which I did order the fittings for, so they should be here soon. Wire up our fuel system, all that kind of stuff. Gut the bed, figure out what we're doing with the exhaust, trans cooler mount. And then all the stuff that we can do later when the truck's running, like the cage and little shit like that. So anyway, let's get into this wiring and get this done. One other thing I did see in the comments, I've tried to reply the times when people said something. We're not waiting on Muldoon's. John has the transmission back together, even though we're going to put a new input shaft in it, so he's going to have to pull that part back apart. But the input shaft is at the torque converter people. As I said, we're doing something a little custom, so we're waiting on the torque converter people, not John at Muldoon's. We're waiting on the torque converter. I know I was kind of, and looking back, yeah, I just kind of threw it out there, and it sounded like it was a transmission issue, but it's a torque converter. We're waiting on the torque converter because we're going a different route. All right, to the wiring. It is much later, as you can see. It's dark out. I've got everything pretty well unspaghettified, I think was what I said the other night, and just kind of in its each individual harness for each switch or connector. So I put the gauges in and got the gauges where, right here. got those ironed out, so we have just the one going the other. I have this one harness here. I think this is just for the emergency brake. We'll find out when we pop it in or don't and see what happens. Because if we can get rid of that, we'll get rid of that too. We don't need that indication, but just one less wire to have. But like I said, everything's kind of strung out. Pretty well organized compared to what it was. But we need to put the dash back in. I'm going to try and run everything so that it's not like zip tied to the dash itself. So for whatever reason, we need to pull that. If we can just have it attached to the steering column like so and drop it down, or have it to this brake mount. That's kind of the game plan going forward. And yeah, a lot of zip ties, a lot of dead zip ties from, you know, pulling stuff and then moving it and what have you. So that's where we're at. Let's see if we can get this mess all wrapped up. Well, my little LED light I had up here, it finally decided to quit, and I figured that was probably my cue to quit as well, as it is very late. So this little wiring project definitely is taking much longer than I anticipated tonight. I thought for sure I'd be able to have that dash back in, but I also decided to loom everything and make it prettier. Nobody will be able to see it, but I just figured while we're at it, might as well try and clean up as best we can so we don't have any, you know, stragglers or anything get caught under something when we're putting the steering wheel up or whatever. So just trying to make that right. Our grounds are all still disconnected, so I got to look at extending them, combining them, and, you know, just running them all down to a central location or whatever, but just combining those things, soldering everything and getting it straight so that everything's grounded. So hopefully tomorrow night we will be able to finish this, get everything grounded, and we won't be able to start the truck, but at least turn the dash on and make sure everything fires up. So guys, once again, we're back at the wiring. It is what it is, just something we got to do. But this should be the last of the major shit for a little while, as soon as we get this wrapped up. So hopefully we can have this dash back together and, you know, at least check it digitally, I guess. I don't know, turn the key on, power it up, and make sure everything's right. We won't be able to start it till we get our fuel system all figured out. But the half dash is definitely very convenient to just be putting in and out of the truck. I can pick it up with one hand and pull it out. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Check you on the next one. Get out in your garage. Get the wrenching on your truck.